Well, I started deciding is it's not uncommon for an atheist to want to study the Bible. A lot of people who study journalism or any other kind of writing quite often will study the Bible because, well, it is the basics for a lot of our Western thought, especially for people who don't think very far. And I started getting really serious about reading the Old Testament again a couple of years ago and started writing it diligently, page by page, to see if I could understand what was going on. And then I got to a point where I got really fucking upset with the Old Testament. It drove such a fury in me to think that people actually had this as holy scriptures and accepted it as holy scriptures. I couldn't handle that. It made me completely and utterly furious. And anybody who hasn't read the Torah and believes in Christianity, Islam also comes from the Torah, and Christianity, Islam, and of course Judaism, they all are based on the Torah. A lot of people think Abe was important, but actually the most important character of the Torah was Moses. Moses was an inbred Egyptian prick, and we're not going to talk about that right now. We're going to talk about the fact that I get so upset with this horrible horror story of murder, kill, and everything else that I decided to take a break and not practice my writing anymore with this nonsense and see if I could go and check out the Jesus Christ story, which I already had read several times. I wasn't prepared to believe it, but I was prepared to work on it and have a little more fun with that. And the funniest thing happened. I really started to appreciate the character of Jesus, and Jesus actually did help me on my path to get away from this paranoia called God. Because this God paranoia, when you're raised in it, and I can fully understand the problem with people who are raised in Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, it is fucking hard to get away from this paranoia that God is watching you. God is always going to check in if you're doing anything bad. And if you don't kill somebody who's doing something bad, then he's going to get pissed off. I mean, that's how Moses did it. He came down off the mountain one day and killed a bunch of the top priests. I mean, the Levites were the chosen of the chosen. And he killed about 3,000 of them one day just to make a point. I mean, go watch Logan's Run. It's the same idea. Anyhow, or read the book. It's better. Read the book. It's always better to read the book, actually. Hollywood is a bit of Hollywood is too fucking Jewish when it comes down to it. But anyway, reading the character of Jesus in the Bible, the New Testament, helped me get away from religion. And this may seem a little bit backwards, but I don't think without the help of Jesus I would have been able to fully appreciate the fact that atheism is actually the only sensible way to think. And I'm very convinced that Jesus Christ knew this, and I'm also convinced that the instinct of the writers has shown this in the Bible. And if you read the Bible very, very carefully, and most people don't take the time, and you should read the Bible if it's what you claim you believe. If you don't believe it, then it doesn't matter, of course. But if you do believe it, and you proclaim it, and you go around trying to sell it to people, you have to know what you're talking about. And if you do not know what you're talking about, you have no right to go around and tell people what to believe. And I promise you that if you go in there and study it, you will see that Jesus was an atheist, and he rejected the notion of the God paranoia. The God paranoia is there to make you a slave. And if you cannot get away from that slavery, we're going to have a big problem on this planet. I mean, we already have a big problem on this planet. And I am convinced that if you can let yourself be saved by Jesus and become a born-again atheist, you will truly see the light. Like I have, and millions of other people have. They don't have to see it through Jesus. All you have to do is stop believing. And however, you need to take your trip to stop believing and start see clearly the world around you. It's just there. And it doesn't matter how you do it. All you have to do is crawl into it, crawl into this reality thing, and it works. It really works. And I mean, sure, there's shitty days, but that's not the point. The point is, it's real. And however Oscar Wilde said it, he said something about reality's hardcore, but it beats the fuck out of science fiction. Wasn't that how he said it? But that was a general idea. You should actually read Oscar Wilde. A lot of people criticize people and say they were homosexuals or as if homosexuality is some kind of a disease. It's not. If somebody wants to be homosexual, that's their choice. If somebody doesn't want to be homosexual, it's also their choice. And if somebody wants to criticize somebody, use something besides sexuality. Don't say he's a cocksucker. I mean, what's that? I mean, so what if? So what if he's a cocksucker? And so what? Anything. But stop believing and stop criticizing people who don't believe, because if you do that, you're going to feel really stupid when you finally wake up in a few lifetimes and realize you have been fighting against life. Okay?